All right, I've got my binoculars in. So I ended up ordering a pair of Tract Toric 8x42, the UHD binoculars. Had a guy comment on the last video and he mentioned Tract. And so my question ultimately was, how much more do I have to spend over the Vortex Diamondback HDs? These are the 8x32s. They're around $200 all day. And how much more do I have to spend to notice a bump in performance and durability? Because every year these eye cups come off, something happens, and they fail. And Vortex has one of the best warranties in the business, but it's almost to a point to where these are disposable. I just anticipate on them messing up. And it's usually during hunting season when I'm using them, either freezing temperatures, something to that effect. And so then I need to send them in, get a replacement or repair, and it's just aggravating. So how much more do I have to spend to notice a bump in durability and performance? And so I ordered these 8x42 Tract Torics, the UHD binoculars. I also got a pair of Nikon Monarch HG 10x30s, and just as far as, which these are not, I mean, there's not the same. This is a 30 objective 42, and these are kind of more of a compact binocular from Nikon. They come in at 1 pound and 1 ounce basically. And then the Torics are much larger. They're 10 ounces heavier, so they're 1 pound and 11 ounces. But these are substantial. So imagine if I had a pair of these and the 10x42s or 8x42s, they'd probably be similar. But something that I've noticed, these are very good. These are around $1,000. You can find them on sale for $900. So these are a nice pair of binoculars. These, you can get them for around $500 to $700, or $550 to $700, somewhere around in there. And something I noticed too, when I was asking the question, how much more do I need to spend over the Diamondback HDs to notice a bump in performance and durability? When I started looking into Tract, after the guy mentioned them, I asked myself, do all these companies manufacture, do they have their own manufacturing assemblies like Nikon, Vortex, or do they outsource them? So doing that, I stumbled across Light Optic Works out of Japan, and it seems like they make a lot of binoculars for a lot of big, well-known companies. And so looking into that, they also made them for Tract. And so, so I started looking into that, considering them, and trying to see what all lines they make. And you can't really find it or tell, but these are made with the Schott glass. It was listed on the binoculars, but they utilize the Schott glass that some of the nicer binoculars use in optics, and they're very good. So I called Tract before I ordered them. I called the company, and when you call the company, like this was in here, this is nice. You can pause it if you want to and read it, but the John and John there, those are the guys that started the company. And so when I called Tract and I was going to ask a question, you know, essentially, why should I buy Tract versus these other competitors? And, you know, if something were to happen with these binoculars, what does that process look like? Well, when I called, I got one of the Johns. They answered the phone. I did not expect to get one of the owners of the company. Like when I've called Vortex about questions about binoculars, you get service department or you get returns, things like that. And at that point, I mean, they care about you, but you're a number at that point. You're an RMA number, and they send out the email and you get it and you go. Well, when I talked to John at Tract, he answered all my questions, and he assured me that, you know, if something happens with a binocular, whether it's an accident or something, you know, workmanship, they're going to take care of it, and they're going to, you know, free of charge, they're going to fix it. And so he told me that process and how it looks, and they stand by their products, and they've been going on 10 years now. He kind of told me their backstory a little bit, and so that reassured me a lot, because this is some coin, you know, to spend on premium optics costs more money. And so, you know, again, these are around $1,000. These are around $600 to $700, $550 to $700, depending on what you get. And anyways, but I called them again. I ordered these. They ran a Labor Day sale. I ordered this pair of binoculars. Well, then I called and I left a voicemail with Tract. They didn't answer. Well, my phone was on silent. I didn't realize they called back. Well, John leaves me a voicemail explaining what size bino harness I would need for this particular brand that I asked about that makes bino harnesses, because the dimensions, he told me the dimensions of these binoculars. He also told me the dimensions from the harness on the website and what he would recommend from his experience. And I don't know if you're going to get that from any of the other companies. He said they've been manufacturing these, I think, for over 10 years and, you know, had great success with them. So I trust them. And honestly, after getting them, you know, and taking them out and trying them and looking, I'm very impressed with the clarity. You know, of course, you make all your adjustments to where it fits your vision, and the clarity is, I haven't seen clarity like that. These are really good, but the smaller objective, it's almost like, you know, it shakes really easy. But if these had the 42 millimeter objective, they probably wouldn't. But I feel like with the focus wheel on these, it's like razor thin. When I'm trying to focus in on something with the Diamondback HDs, it's almost razor thin. So if I'm trying to focus on an image out, you know, at more of a distance, I've got to be very fine with it, because, you know, it'll move, and it's a very thin margin there for focus. There is a bigger sweet spot on the focus on these. When I'm going to make adjustments, it is super crystal clear, edge to edge. The colors look, it's not like you're looking through a vibrant, you know, they're not exaggerated, but they're really, I don't know how to explain it, but it's really clear, it's really crisp. The edge to edge is there. It looks really good. There's not dark spots. You know, and I asked him about these eye cups, and he said they make theirs out of metal, the metal components. And, you know, these are, of course, rubber, but as far as the components in them are metal. And so, he said, we know that's a breaking point in binoculars, and so that's something that they over-engineered. And so, but they utilize the Schott glass, and they just seem very, very nice and very substantial. And so when you get a pair of Tract binoculars, so this is I'll have to hook these up, but that's like let's see, that's as far as your neck, you got your strap there, neck strap to put on. This is kind of like an inexpensive protective case, and I'm going to use this until a harness comes in that I've ordered. But again, this is just kind of like another piece that just kind of reassures you that, you know. And here it talks about here, warranty requires no paperwork or form of registration. In addition, any instructional tech information can be found on our website for your viewing pleasure. So they're going to stand behind their products. From talking to them, they're real good guys. You get a piece of, you know, you get you a lens cloth here that it's just a good piece. But I'm super impressed with these. I can't wait to try them out this year, because I've never owned like a nice pair of binoculars, and these seem very nice. The picture is definitely there. I can notice a substantial upgrade in image quality on the Toric 8x42s over the Diamondback 8x32s, the Vortex Diamondback HDs. I can notice a substantial upgrade in image quality, and the build quality seems there, but time will tell. I'm sure these are going to be great, but time will tell on durability. I'm selling these. I got these. I'm not keeping these. These are like $1,000 pair of binoculars, and I'm gonna sell those and somehow buy them that can use them and put them to good use. I'm gonna use these Toric HDs, the Tract Torics. Very impressed with them. So John, great job. I'm pleased with the image quality, and I can't wait to see how they stand up over time, because they seem like they're very well made, and I am very impressed with the glass and the Schott glass. So thank you again, and thank you for recommending Tract. Y'all have a great day.